Hello, friends. Let me begin with something raw and real. You don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. That's not just a cute quote. It's a call to step into the most honest, soul-shaking journey you'll ever take. The journey inward. I want to talk to the brave ones today, the ones who are tired of the same patterns, the same people, the same outcomes, the ones whispering in the dark, there has to be more. And there is, but the door to more opens within you first. If you want to attract better into your life, here are 5 truths, 5 keynotes that can anchor you. There's a saying that goes, you can't heal what you won't face. And I've learned both through research and through my own messy, imperfect life, that the things we hide don't go away just because we don't talk about them. They don't dissolve with time. They don't lose power in the silence. In fact, the longer we hide our wounds, the deeper they root themselves into the way we live, love, and lead. When we experience pain, whether it's heartbreak, betrayal, shame, failure, or trauma, instinctively want to protect ourselves, we put up armor, we numb, we deny, we hustle for worth. And while those defenses may have helped us survive, they're not designed to help us thrive. What's buried inside us doesn't disappear. It shows up in how quick we are to anger, in how we avoid vulnerability, and how we don't let people get too close in the choices we make in partners, careers, friendships. Every part of our lives is impacted by what we haven't healed. And here's the thing. If you're wondering why you keep attracting the same kind of people, the same drama, the same disappointment, it's not because you're cursed or unlucky. It's because your unhealed pain is doing the picking. It's deciding what you tolerate. It's telling you, this is the best you're gonna get. And I say this with love. That's a lie. You are worthy of deep, wholehearted love, of safety, of joy, of peace. But you can't receive those things while you're still living inside the walls you built to protect yourself from being hurt again. Healing begins when we get honest with ourselves, when we stop pretending it didn't matter, when we stop numbing with busyness or scrolling or pleasing or drinking or whatever your go-to might be. Healing begins when we allow ourselves to feel what we've been running from. And I know that's scary. I know it's messy, but I also know it's the most courageous thing you'll ever do. When we begin to tend to those wounds, when we name them, when we grieve them, when we let someone witness them with compassion, we start to shift. Slowly, yes. Gently, yes, but powerfully. Suddenly, we start choosing people who treat us with care. We say no when we used to stay silent. We stop chasing validation. We stop shrinking, and we begin to attract better, not because the world has changed, but because we have. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to stop hiding the parts of you that hurt. Because healing doesn't say nothing bad ever happened. Healing says, I finally believe that what happened doesn't define me anymore. And that, my friend, is the kind of light that better is drawn to. So many of us were raised to believe that being a good person means being agreeable, pleasant, accommodating. We're taught that saying yes makes us kind, that putting others first makes us selfless, and that speaking up for our needs is selfish, dramatic, or rude. And that narrative, it's exhausting, it's dangerous, and most of all, it's false. Because here's what I've learned, not just in theory, but in my bones. You cannot live a full, authentic life without boundaries. Let that sink in. Boundaries are not about shutting people out. They're not about being mean, cold, or unavailable. They are about protecting your peace, your energy, and your worthiness. They are the invisible lines that say, this is where I end, and you begin. This is what I will allow. This is what I will not. And without those lines, we lose ourselves. We say yes when everything inside us screams no. We stay in conversations that drain us, relationships that dim us, jobs that belittle us. We become resentful, bitter, exhausted, and then we wonder why we keep attracting chaos, disrespect, or emotional exhaustion into our lives. But here's the truth. We don't just attract what we want, we attract what we allow.
Every time we ignore that gut feeling for the sake of keeping the peace, we're teaching the world that our comfort doesn't matter. Every time we overextend, overgive, over-apologize, we are reinforcing the belief that love has to be earned and that our needs come last. And that is not love. That is not strength. That is not how better finds you. The moment we start setting boundaries real, honest ones, we shift the entire atmosphere of our lives. We begin to operate from worthiness, not fear. We choose rest over burnout, truth over approval, and alignment over obligation. Yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first. Yes, some people might push back. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries will often be the loudest when you start building them. But you weren't put on this earth to live small so others can feel comfortable. Every time you say, I'm not available for this kind of treatment, you are saying yes to something higher. Every time you say, this doesn't work for me, you are not rejecting people. You are honoring yourself. And when you honor yourself, you stop chasing better. It starts meeting you where you are. Your peace is not up for negotiation. Your time is not an unlimited resource. Your energy is sacred. And when you begin to protect it fiercely, consistently, and without guilt, your life begins to reflect that same respect. So no, boundaries aren't selfish. They're essential. Because a life without them isn't noble, it's unsustainable. And you deserve better than that. There comes a moment in every person's life when they get tired of the pretending, the performing, the shape-shifting, tired of editing themselves to fit into spaces that were never designed to hold their full truth. And it's in that moment when you realize that fitting in is not the same as belonging that your entire life begins to change. Authenticity isn't a buzzword. It's not a personality trait. It's a daily, conscious choice to show up as yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. It's saying, this is who I am, this is what I value, this is what I believe, even if it makes me different, even if it makes me vulnerable. But here's the catch and it's a hard one. We can't be authentically ourselves if we don't even know who we are. And that's where the work begins. Because most of us were taught, explicitly or implicitly, to build a version of ourselves that would be palatable to others. We learned to hide our quirks, to silence our truth, to perform perfection. We were rewarded for being what others needed us to be, and over time, we started confusing approval with love. But love that requires you to betray yourself isn't love, it's survival. And when you're living in survival mode, you can't attract better, you're just attracting what you think will keep you safe. The truth is, the more layers you shed, the more masks you remove, the more magnetic you become. Why? Because authenticity is rare. It's disarming. It's liberating. People can feel when you're not pretending. They can sense when they're in the presence of someone who is fully themselves, and it gives them permission to be the same. So yes, being yourself might mean losing people. It might mean disappointing those who only love the version of you they could control or understand. But I promise you this, what you lose in false connection, you gain tenfold in real connection. You start attracting people who resonate with your soul, not your performance. You walk into rooms where you no longer wonder if you belong because you bring your belonging with you. You no longer chase love. You become love. You embody it. And that's when the right people, the right opportunities, the right life find you. Being unapologetically you means you stop watering yourself down to be digestible. It means you take up space. You speak with conviction. You own your weirdness, your wounds, your wonder. You tell the truth. Even when your voice shakes, you stop waiting to be chosen and you choose yourself. And no, it doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you're real. And that is always, always enough. So here's the challenge. Wake up every day and choose courage over comfort. Choose your truth over someone else's expectations. Choose authenticity over approval, because you don't find better by being what the world wants. You find better by being fully, unapologetically you. One of the hardest things we'll ever do is raise our standards, especially when we've spent so much of our lives settling. It's easy to look at where we are right now and think, this is all I deserve. We make peace with less than what we're worth because we've been told that asking for more is greedy, ungrateful, or unrealistic. But I'm here to tell you, that's a lie. You don't have to settle for the life that's in front of you right now. You don't have to accept relationships that drain you, jobs that diminish you, or environments that stifle your growth. You have the right and the responsibility to demand more for yourself, from the world, and from those around you. Here's the thing. Raising your standards isn't about arrogance. It's about acknowledging your worth. It's about deciding that you are worthy of the very best that life has to offer, whether that's love, success, friendship, or peace. But here's the kicker. Raising your standards without guilt requires that you let go of the narrative that you have to earn the right to want more. It requires you to unlearn all the things that have convinced you that your needs, your desires, and your well-being are secondary to everyone else's. I've seen this over and over again in my own life and in the lives of others. We often downplay our desires because we're afraid of being seen as too much. We shrink ourselves because we don't want to make anyone else feel uncomfortable. We silence our dreams because they feel too big, too bold, too out of reach. But let me tell you this, the world does not get to define your capacity for greatness. You do. When you raise your standards, you stop tolerating almost. You stop settling for people who only give you crumbs when you deserve a full meal. You stop waiting for others to change before you can change your life. You stop looking for permission to step into the life you were always meant to live. Here's the truth. The moment you raise your standards, you might lose some things and you might lose some people. But what you gain will be far more valuable. You will attract people who match your energy, who see your worth, who love you as you are. You will find opportunities that reflect your growth, your progress, and your potential. You will open doors you didn't even know existed. But here's where it gets tricky. You're going to face resistance internally and externally. Internally, you might feel guilty for saying no to things that have always been a part of your life. You might feel like you're being selfish for wanting more. And I get it. I've been there. We've all been there. But you know what? You have the right to say no without feeling like you owe anyone an explanation. You have the right to take up space, to prioritize your needs, to demand respect, and to walk away from situations that no longer serve you. Externally, you might face criticism. People will question your decisions. They might call you picky, unreasonable, or ungrateful. They might say you've changed, and maybe you have. But that change, that's growth. That's you stepping into your full power. That's you saying, I am worthy of more than what I've been accepting. It's important to remember that raising your standards isn't about demanding perfection. It's about raising your expectations for the quality of life you will accept. It's about choosing relationships that nurture you, work that challenges you, and self-care that supports you. And when you raise your standards, you send a powerful message to the world. I will no longer settle for less than I deserve, and I will not apologize for demanding the best for myself. The moment you do this, you become a magnet for the kind of life, love, and success you've always dreamed of. You attract what you believe you deserve. So no more guilt, no more shrinking, no more pretending that good enough is enough. You have every right to ask for more because you are worthy of more. And when you believe that, when you raise your standards with unapologetic confidence, that's when better will find its way into your life. You know, we live in a world that's constantly telling us what to expect success, expect love, expect achievement. We're told to go after what we want, to set goals, to visualize our dreams, to manifest our desires. And while all of that is important, here's something that I've learned over the years. You cannot attract what you're not already embodying. Let that sink in. We often wait for the world to change before we change. We wait for the right person to come into our lives, the perfect job to appear, the success to materialize before we feel like we're enough. But here's the truth, you are already enough. And in order to attract the life you want, you need to start becoming the kind of person who already embodies those things. The love you seek, become the person who loves deeply and unconditionally. The success you crave, become the person who works with integrity, who shows up, who does the work even when no one is watching. The happiness you want, become the person who chooses joy, who cultivates gratitude, who refuses to be defeated by setbacks. What I'm saying is this, you cannot expect to attract things that you are not willing to embody yourself. The energy you give off, the way you show up in the world, is the energy that the world will mirror back to you. You can't expect respect if you don't first respect yourself. You can't expect love if you're not willing to love yourself first. You can't expect success if you're not willing to embody the work ethic, the vision, and the resilience it takes to get there. I'm not talking about perfection. Perfection is a trap. But I am talking about alignment. When you are aligned with who you truly are, when your actions, your thoughts, and your heart are in harmony, that's when you begin to embody the life you want to see. It starts with doing the work inside yourself. You have to believe that you are worthy of what you're asking for. You have to believe that the dreams you hold are not only possible, they are meant for you. When you believe in your worth, when you believe in your capabilities, when you believe that better is already within you, that is the moment your outer world begins to reflect what's inside. And here's the beautiful thing. When you begin to embody what you expect, you stop chasing. You stop scrambling. You stop hustling for validation and approval. You stop giving your energy away to things that don't align with who you are. Instead, you become magnetic. People, opportunities, and experiences that are in alignment with your new energy will find you. You'll stop feeling like you have to force your way into places, and instead, you'll walk into rooms where you already belong. You'll stop seeking permission to take up space and start owning the space you're in. But this doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. It's the work of showing up each day, making the choice to embody your worth, your truth, and your dreams. It's the small daily actions of courage, self-care, and alignment that compound over time, shifting your reality. You have to be willing to do the inner work, to shift your mindset, to heal the wounds that are keeping you small. You have to be willing to step into your own power. No more playing small. No more pretending you don't have something incredible to offer the world. Because when you embody what you expect, you send a clear message to the universe. This is who I am, and I am ready for all the abundance, love, and success that is on its way to me. And the more you align yourself with that energy, the more you will attract what is meant for you. So let me ask you this. What do you want, and who do you need to become to make that a reality? It's all in your hands. Start embodying it now, and the world will meet you where you stand. You want better? Then be brave enough to believe you're worthy of it. Not because of what you do, not because of what you look like, But because you are already enough flaws, scars, and all, the moment you start living from that place, better doesn't need to be chased. It finds you because you become someone who's ready to receive it. Thank you.